I covet Jones Bolingo. Heated seats and big window. Boy, look at that thing go. I covet Jones Bolingo. Have you pulled the party popper yet? What about a conga? You've got to organise the audience to do a conga. Yeah. No, Ken, there'll be health and safety issues, surely. No, it'll be fine.
Welcome to Get Shirty, the podcast that likes to look at the little things in life which never fail to irritate. Each episode, we ask our special guest to talk about what gets them shirty at home, work and going out. Then, our off-the-cuff surprise question could take the chat anywhere. Each guest also designs their own made-to-measure shirt, which we then make. So we talk about that too. Funny that, us being tailors. January is well and truly in full force now, so what better time for the first Get Shirty guest episode of 2025. And it's another road trip. We travelled to the heart of London to meet our guest, and that is the one and only Graham Fellows. Now, Graham first came to prominence in 1978, reaching number 4 in the UK charts, declaring Gordon is a moron after being dumped by Julie, with the song titled Jilted John, and that was in the band with the same name. This led on to acting, with a stint playing Gail Tilsley's love interest in Coronation Street and theatre work, but Graham is probably best known for creating and playing John Shuttleworth, the Sheffield-based singer-songwriter who, along with his trusty Yamaha PSS 680 keyboard, has been playing up and down the country since the mid-80s. He's also had his own series on Radio 4 with the Shuttleworths. That was alongside his wife Mary and next-door neighbour and manager Ken, along with films like It's Nice Up North and TV series such as 500 Bus Stops. His hits include Pigeons in Flight, 2 Margarines on the Go and the classic Austin Ambassador Y-Reg. We caught up with Graham ahead of John Shuttleworth's 40th anniversary tour called Raise the Oof. I'm not doing that justice. That kicks off in January right through to May this year. See John's website for details. We chat about John's style, playing multiple characters, the punk years and the wistfulness of a barbecue. Here we go then. 3 mics, 2 tailors this time, 3 guests, you'll see, and a host of irritations. Let's get shirty. Welcome, Graham, to the Get Shirty podcast. We're in salubrious surroundings today.
Well, we are. We're in this strange little room next to the toilets of a very posh club in Mayfair. Is that a good way to describe it?
Well, it is, but weirdly, it feels like we're next to the toilets, but they're quite a distance from us.
Oh, good.
I know.
Good to know.
But it has that general vibe.
Actually, it's not good to know. I want to know is it far?
Well, actually, just back the way you came, right, past the cloakroom, and then it's just down there to the right.
No,
the opposite direction to the Darwin room, which is down the other end of the corridor. But
have I joined an exclusive club of celebs who won't come to meet you, but you have to come and meet them? Is that right?
Yeah,
because I live in this club, as you know. No, I've come down from Leicester.
Thanks for inviting us.
Yeah, but Alex Horn was another one of your guests.
So that was the first road trip.
Yeah. Is this the second?
Third. This is the third.
Jeff.
The second one was a fellow musician called Jeff Wilkinson, who is a sort of jazz hip hop guy. The band is Us Three. He did a reworking of the Blue Note Cantaloupe.
Wow.
And the theme tune for Get Shorty, the film.
See where we're going?
Yeah.
Right, yeah.
And that's how we ended up getting in touch with him, see?
Yeah.
To use some of his music, which we didn't have to do in the end.
Yeah.
We should have got in touch with you.
Well,
We could
yes,
have
you should, but I would have wanted paying.
Yeah, well, so did he. Which is why we ended up doing our own music. It's funny.
Right.
But so I was going to say a minute ago, is obviously we've done a few of these now, and we're finding our feet with them, and I really enjoy speaking to people, and there's always that slight apprehension when you're just about to meet the person for the first time, but generally speaking, I can separate the person who I meet with the person who I know as through reading their writing or seeing them on TV or hearing their music. I'm finding at times to know where the line is between you and John. Do you find that a lot with people? Do people expect?
How's that?
Oh my God, where did you come from?
I've taken my specs off. Does that help a little?
It does. I mean,
I've taken my specs off. Yeah.
Yeah, there was just a
I
little...
can't see you though.
No, put them back
That's
on.
the problem. Well,
Put them back on. Hello, John.
no, I'm Graham, and obviously there's a bit of John in there.
Yeah.
But
do you
because
find
I've
that a lot
given
with
my
people?
bits of me, I've given them to John.
Yeah. Do you find people meet you expecting John rather than Graham?
I guess people who are ardent fans of John Shuttleworth and have heard a lot of his material,
Yeah.
they know the cadence of John's voice, and they can hear that in my voice. But I always remember Steve Coogan, who I used to be quite pally with years ago. I've not seen him for
you
years,
did
but
work together, didn't you?
We did work together, on a few things. But he said the same thing, that people would complain or observe when they met him. They think, you're being Alan Partridge, aren't you? And he said, well, actually, this is me.
Yeah.
It's just bits of my voice have gone into Alan Partridge.
Yeah.
So obviously bits of my voice have gone into John,
Because when you went from Jilted John to doing John Shuttleworth, it was interesting to see that shift and change in your voice. And
well, I mean, Jilted John is not a particularly honed character, I would say. It's a bit nebulous because it's weird. I did the song in 78, actually wrote it in the winter of 77, and then we started doing gigs in 78, and eventually it became a single in the summer, big hit.
Yeah.
But I was just initially lampooning punk, and for me that was mainly southern punk.
Yeah.
With all, and the whole here we go 2, 3, 4. I was hearing that on a lot of punk records, and so that's it was a parody song initially, and it kind of gained artistic merit later.
it got a sort of bit of a shove from John Peel, I understand.
Definitely did. And then daytime Radio 1 really got behind it. People like Simon Bates and Kid Jensen. I mean, everyone got behind it, and it was a big smash of 7 But what I was going to say is, when I started doing gigs, I don't know why I was doing it, but my opening gambit in the gig was in a northern accent. I used to go, my name is Jilted John. My music is for everyone. And if it doesn't turn you on, you must be a moron, like Gordon, who sings backing vocals. Take it away, boys. And then I go, Jilted John. Start doing the stuff. So I don't know what the rationale was there. And then when I did the album, True Love Stories, Jilted John was living in Sheffield, growing up in Sheffield, but he had a southern accent.
Okay.
Are you a southerner? Were you born as a southerner?
No, I was born in Sheffield.
Are you born?
For some reason, I mean, so it's not. I mean, the song itself was almost the first song I've ever written, and it's structurally incredibly odd. And any self-respecting songwriter would say, you can't write a song in that format. And I would say that now because it takes the initial melody, and then it abandons it and just goes, which is interesting. And then it has the chorus once,
Yeah.
which you don't have. You'd have a chorus many times.
Yeah.
And then it has this weird coda. Na, 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 na,
Yeah.
na, na. But maybe that's the strength of the song, that it breaks the rules and is just so odd.
Yeah, well, it's got such a strong opening line as well, because straight away you know the song's going to be a story. It's not about just being a repetitive thing. The first thing is it's an opening line of a story, really. It's like, I've been going out with a girl, so you've got to listen to the rest of the song to know what happened to the girl and why why is that relevant. It's not just I'm in love and
I mean, I did consciously try and write something that was very English and in the vernacular and would appeal to kids and they could understand. I was the first person to rhyme telly and smelly. I think I've said this to Chris Difford, who did it famously in the Junction.
Yeah.
I mean, at the time I was at drama college. I was 18.
That was in Manchester.
In Manchester. I picked up a guitar. Someone tuned it to a chord for me. I didn't even know what a chord was.
Yeah.
And then I just put my finger across the fretboard at different positions, and that's how I got the song.
Right.
So the whole thing came out from naivety and was a lot of fun. The fun stopped when it was a hit. And when it became a hit, suddenly it got very serious, and I didn't enjoy things, and I fell out with Gordon. I fell out with the lad Bernard Kelly, who was a good friend of mine. Ironically, we fell out over a girl.
Really?
Not Julie, but a different one. And he had his own kind of fan club, so there's a little bit of rivalry there. And to my regret, I didn't include him on the album because we'd fallen out.
Right.
So I kind of went off with a slightly different set of musicians. Martin Hannah, the record producer, who's sadly no longer with us, who produced Joy Division, didn't he?
Right.
Buzzcock, Spout, Scratch. Very influential, allegedly, Martin Hannah, but he was piddling around with machines. It was his first chance to do an album with a proper budget, so he was trying to make his mark, do strange sounds. He didn't like the guitarist, so a lot of the punk guitar sounds that we had on the single disappeared, and then became kind of weird keyboard sounds. But because I was only just 19, I put my foot down occasionally, but a lot of the time I just thought, well, just go with the flow, see what happens.
Here for the ride.
We got an interesting album that a lot of people liked, but it didn't. Commercially, it was a total failure. After a 500,000 selling single, we sold 15,000 albums, which is not good.
Yeah. It's funny that it doesn't necessarily mean it's going to translate, does it? That sort of popularity. For one thing, isn't, it's not a given. Nothing's a given, is it?
No, I mean, I think the song Jilted John had a feel of a one-hit wonder to me. It'd be very hard to do another one. And EMI put out 2 more songs off the album, but they just bombed because again they were so different. In fact, someone stuck out a song called Gordon's Not a Moron. Don't know if you remember that. And that got quite a bit of airplay.
Gordon and Julie as well.
By Gordon and Julie. That was nothing to do with us, my record company. And I was actually rather proud of that. I thought, it's like an answer record. It's like, because there used to be answer records, and the Barron Knights were always sticking out stuff that was a parody of things. And my record company tried to sue them, but I wasn't. I thought, why? It's great.
And from that, so how did that then lead through to doing John Shuttleworth? What happened between? What was the catalyst, I suppose?
Well, they're not. I mean, they're similar in the sense that they both happened accidentally, I guess. Jilted John was just me mucking around in the canteen at college with a guitar, and I just came up with this song. John Shuttleworth was me mucking about with tapes, and quite a few, it wasn't that many years, about 7 years after Jilted John, I'd been an actor.
Bit of Corrie in between.
Bit of repertory theatre, a couple of TV series, dramas that were well paid and not very good,
Right.
and kind of forgettable. One was called Studio, about a recording studio for ITV, and then another one for ITV was called The Winning Streak,
Right.
which was about car rally driving, and it was up against Howard's Way, and Howard's Way was just coming out, and that completely blew The Winning Streak apart. But I was at the same time trying to write songs, because Jilted John, as I said, was like almost my first song. I suddenly felt like a songwriter, and it kind of threw my acting career into, not chaos, but I just lost interest, really, lost focus. Because I always thought I'd sort of end up in just theatre or the RSC. That was my goal.
Right.
But suddenly I found I just wanted to record songs, and I had one of those Porter Studios cassette things that everyone had back then. Brilliant. I used to try and get 16 tracks out of these little 4-track cassettes by bouncing them down. And I'd just spend days just getting the drum sound and stuff. So I just kind of learnt my craft of songwriting that way. Okay, so John Shuttleworth in '85, the acting work had dried up. I'd put out an album called Love at the Hacienda as myself, as Graham Fellows, and it had got a bit of interest from music publishers, because I'd sent them copies, and I got a publishing deal as a songwriter with Chapel Music, just down the road from here.
Right.
I think. They encouraged me to do gigs and stuff, but the day I signed as a songwriter, somebody played me a tape of bad demos in the studio, in the A&R room office. Everyone was laughing at these really bad demos because they were funny. You were like people like John Shuttleworth playing a keyboard, usually, could be a guitar, but you could hear someone in the background washing up, or a dog barking. It was a very human kind of performance, not polished, but very engaging. Yeah. And I went home. I was inspired by that, and went home and I actually created my own spoof demo tape, sent it to this publisher at Chapel Music, and he didn't know who it was. I was trying to fool him, and he didn't stop playing it for days, and copied it, sent it to other people. They eventually twigged it was me,
right,
and instantly forgot about my serious songs that they signed me for, and they wanted more
of that,
more of the Shuttleworth.
Right. Ah, amazing.
Yeah, the irony is, of course, John Shuttleworth is in his world a songwriter who's never really made it, because he can't. He's trying to be. He's an aspiring singer-songwriter, and I am, or I was. Yeah. And I suddenly had to sort of put all my efforts into John.
Yeah.
But I don't mind. And interestingly, over the years, I've realised that my stuff is not that far from John, really. I mean, there are certain songs like "You're Like Manchester." Do you know that one?
Yeah.
It puns a lot on Manchester place names.
Yeah.
If you're like Manchester, don't you cheat me.
Right.
If I rush home to find you've been in Wally's range, I won't be pleased. My Bellevue of the world will become a fallow field. But I know I can trust you. You're like Manchester. But although you got strange ways, don't go altering them.
Very good. Yeah.
So
you like the wordplay, don't you?
I do love
Jilted John and Shuttleworth. You like that sort of wordplay.
I mean, Shuttleworth's probably definitely more.
Yeah.
But that song was a Graham Fellows song. That's why I sang it in my voice. I gave it to John.
Right.
And it's now in John's set.
In the repertoire.
It's going to be in the new tour, actually.
Is it?
Well, I hadn't played it for quite a few years, and it just fits because I've got this skit about Oasis. Because it's all about anniversaries, John's celebrating his 40th anniversary. But then he realises that other people have got anniversaries. It's 30 years from our album, and he was always a bit wary of. I'll slip into John, okay?
Yeah,
why not? I've always been a bit wary of that Liam. Looks like. I hope he's not offended by me saying this, but it looks like he'd rob you. You know what I mean? Well, put it this way: if I'd keep my bum bag zipped up if I was nearby. I've never tried this material. Yeah. Maybe it's too. No, he's not going to sue me, is he?
No.
Well, anyway.
I wouldn't have thought so.
We'll show. But I watched a bit of U-Bend the other day, is it? And I suddenly realised he's got his hands behind his back while he's singing. He's like the Duke of Edinburgh. He's respectable, you know what I mean? He's dignified. And then I realised that, I discovered his mother, Peggy, used to work for McVitie's, you know, making biscuits. Fantastic.
Yeah.
So he's changed my whole view of the Gallagher brothers. So I'd like to dedicate this next song to them.
Perfect.
And I go to You Like Manchester.
Yeah.
That's a world exclusive. And I always try to have a new concept. So this one's called Raise the Oof.
Right, yeah, that's a genius.
What does that mean?
Yeah.
Well, I just saw it written down in a notebook. I think I must have written it a couple of years ago. And of course it's a pun on Raise the Roof.
Yeah.
And I thought, well, he's celebrating, so maybe Ken, his agent, would say, you know, call it Raise the Roof. Yeah. And then inevitably, with every title, Ken does a typo. Because in the past we've had titles like One Foot in the Gravy, Pillock of the Community. Yeah. My favourite is My Last Will and Tasty Mint. And so this is in that tradition. There'll be exchanges. Mary, his wife. Oh, there's another subplot about John having been given the costume of Alderman Fitzwarren.
Right.
Which is something that is mentioned historically. He'd like to dress up as Alderman Fitzwarren.
Right.
Of course, as the father of Alice, who eventually marries Dick Whittington. You look puzzled, Stuart.
No,
Dick
I'm
Whittington.
just listening.
And I'd love to play the part of Alderman Fitzwarren, but it's always on ice, isn't it, these days? And I can't skate, you know. And I'm no spring chicken, Stuart, you know, a bit like yourself. I'm the other Stuart, yeah. We're of an age, you've got to be careful, you could break your hip.
Do you know, we really are. So the knees are fine.
Yeah. So just stuff like that, and then I think a moth might come out of the costume, so Mary chucks it.
Right.
Or does she put it in the deep freeze? Look,
as a tailor, I'd recommend the deep freeze.
Does that work then?
Yeah.
In fact, I can pick your brains here. So if a clothes moth flutters out of a costume, and you really want to save the costume, what do you do?
Seal it in put it in a bin liner or something, seal it, and then chuck it in the deep freeze.
Brilliant.
Yeah, it'll kill the eggs.
That's what
you got to kill, the eggs.
But not. It would take a few weeks, or
yeah. I mean, leave it in there for a good amount of time, but you don't have to leave it for too long. But yeah, put it in the deep freeze. It kills the eggs.
So Mary was correct in doing what she was.
Yeah,
that's brilliant.
There are sprays available, but they're pretty offensive.
Are they proprietary? What does that mean? It's a proprietary spray.
Your guess is as good as mine. Yeah. But yeah, so no, deep freeze. Mary was quite right.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well done, Mary.
Mm-hmm. Is that it then? Are we done?
Yeah. No, thanks for coming.
Can we go and have a drink? Now, look, at some point,
we're going to talk.
You've got to mention this amazing fact. So I was drawn to your podcast by the offer of a shirt.
Yes.
Except I wasn't. I thought, I've got enough shirts.
Yeah.
What I desperately need is a pair of trousers.
Well, do you know, what's interesting is we've broken ranks in a couple of ways here. Yeah. Go on. Look at the face. What? The reason being is because usually we do the shirt chat before we even start recording.
Right.
But today, we just came in, got straight on with it. So at some point during the chat, I would have said, so look, Graham, we're doing you a shirt, and this is the shirt, this is what it's going to be, and do the chat. But we haven't even had a chance to even talk about the shirt. But yeah, we're not doing a shirt for you, are we? No.
Get trousery doesn't sound as good, does it?
No. Get trousered? Doesn't quite work. So why don't you explain why we're not doing you a shirt, Graham? We're not going to get shirty.
No, we can still get shirty.
Yeah, we'll do that.
But from a practical point of view, I am desperately short of Shuttleworth slacks, as we call them.
Yeah.
We can say slacks. We didn't say trousers.
Slack. Slacked off now.
Yeah.
Slacking again.
Can we pun somehow like getting tight on the slacks? No.
Well, off the cuff kind of works, because you do have trouser cuffs. out the pocket. I don't know. We'll have to.
Wasted.
Yeah. Oh, that's not bad. But that should be the drunk version of the podcast.
Yeah. No. Look, be serious.
Yeah.
I need a pair of trousers. I cannot find these kind of retro beige slacks, polyester with a very strong crease.
Yeah.
That they'll never need ironing. They don't make them anymore. They're all called chinos. What's that mean?
That's the style.
They don't have a
flare.
flare.
Yeah.
And
so the style's not a problem. Do you know the problem that the reason you're having trouble is because they don't like making that material anymore. It's very hard to get 100% because that's 100% polyester most of the time.
Yes.
It's so
Why is that hard to get them?
Plastics.
Because it's plastics and they don't like making it. So I've brought some samples with us today,
Yes, okay.
which are a mix. So they're about 80% polyester, but now they like to put elastine in, which is like a lycra, so they've got a bit of stretch.
Well, I don't mind a little bit of stretch, especially in the tummy area.
Well, it'll give you a sort of, you could do the Shuttleworth lunge or something, You'll be able to sort of, I've seen you do your high kicks. I haven't, obviously, but, they'll be possible in these.
Yeah.
But I've found a few 100% polyesters, and it's got that particular texture. It's a bit like crepe. It's got that sort of almost a sort of mottled look to it sometimes as well, that 100% polyester. So I can get it.
At this point,
But
the listener's going to be dropping off, possibly.
Well,
It's not that interesting.
Hey, sometimes we get criticised for not having enough tailoring chat.
Oh, okay.
So, again...
Well, I have brought...
And I quite like the idea of doing after the event, having on our website the ability for people to order the Shuttleworth. Can I have a pair of the Shuttleworths, please, sir? It would... Oh,
You see,
there they
this
are.
is my existing pair. Well, I brought two existing pairs.
So it's a twill. So it's a polyester twill is what that is.
Yeah, these are the pairs that I have been using, but they've kind of lost the
lustre.
Yeah, and they don't have any kind of stiffness.
Yeah.
So they've lost their sharpness. But I used to be able to go to charity shops and buy them, and then after that I used to go to places like Littlewoods.
Yeah.
Talking a long time ago.
Yeah. C&A would have done them as well,
yeah.
and Debenhams maybe back in the day.
Yeah.
But colour-wise, so we can do the main bulk of this chat afterwards, but colour-wise, anywhere between these is okay, is it?
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Stuart is pointing to my two pairs of trousers, which are kind of beige or fawn, as I used to call them.
See, look.
Oh,
so these
it's
are
that
polyester,
one, really, isn't it? That or that.
Yeah. So these are polyester, but they've got a little bit of a rayon in there.
Yeah.
And a little mix of various other bits and pieces. So they have got a little bit of stretch to them, but the right colour, and they'll go through the machine and should hold that crease.
Okay. I mean, you can put a crease in, can't you? You stitch a crease in at the front.
Yeah, you can, and you can also get a little rubberised strip that goes down the inside the crease, and so it never. Yeah.
I mean, the important thing is that I don't want them to crumple.
Yeah.
I want them to stay.
Yeah.
And one of these pairs definitely does that. It never creases.
Yeah. So and there's this kind of thing as well.
Yeah.
But it is 100. But we did a little a mini road trip on the way here and went to a few of the cloth shops on Wardour Street, and Berwick Street on the way up here to see if I could get a nice 100% polyester. Very hard to get. But,
so do you feel, as tailors, do you feel compromised or angry that I've, insisting on trousers instead of a shirt?
Well, look,
or is it a challenge?
No, I like the challenge.
But we costed it out.
Now we're talking get shirties, or get trousered, or
I think I think you should stick with the get shirty,
the trouser edition.
Yeah,
maybe that's the way forward. So
getting arsey.
Oh, yeah, there'll be one. I'll wake up in the middle of the night. That's what it is. So look, let's get shirty then. So part of what this is about, obviously, is the getting shirty. And talking about not just you and the things that you do, but the things in life that get you shirty. You know, if there is anything, some people come on this and go, "Oh, I don't really get shirty about anything," but you know, I think everybody's got to get shirty. That low level sort of irritation of life. So we focus on 3 things initially: work, rest, and play. Okay. The old Mars bar way of looking at life. But to some people, that doesn't mean anything anymore. That work, rest, and play.
Yeah,
you got to
it does to me.
Yeah. So work, rest, and play. So we start with work. So is there anything, you know, and it doesn't have to be about being an entertainer. It could be about, you know, your time as a milkman, the lack of.
It used to make me cross that occasionally I'd deliver my milk and then I'd set off in my float and some guy would come out and whistle.
All right, whistle at you?
Whistle at me to
what?
Not in appreciation, but to try and get me to come back. And I said to this guy, I said, "Excuse me, I'm not a dog."
Yeah.
And he went, "I just want another pint." He was Italian, I think.
Right. I did get
that. I got the milk order wrong or something. But no, I wasn't going to pick on that. I was actually going to talk about something in my business.
Go for it.
That slightly annoys me, and it's kind of not a million miles from what we're doing, you know. But I was on Loose Ends on Radio 4 recently, and I've done that show many, many times. And when I listen to it, when I'm not on, when performers are on it, they're always really grateful that they've been asked to be on it. They've always got a book to plug or a show to plug. So there's always a certain emotional level that they're at and a mood they're in, and they're ingratiating and they're nice to all the other acts that are on, and they clap and go, "Woo!" when someone's sung a really crap song. Woo! And I've done it myself. And it's like, and it's just so sycophantic and horrible. And I'd much rather that people could come on those shows and go, "Listen, it's just not going very well at the moment. And yeah, you've got me on this show, but I'm not very happy about this tour. It's not selling well. It's you know, and just be more. My mental health's not very good at the moment. You know? But I suppose podcasts, you can do that a bit more, can't you?
Yeah, I suppose.
But you know what I mean? What I'm saying
it's
about,
that.
It's that, and I suppose like if you translate it to TV, which I've not really done any TV, but yeah, Graham Norton, classic. Everyone comes on, it's the same kind of level.
Yeah.
Oh, what are you doing at the moment? You've just been in a wonderful film.
Yeah. And let me steer it towards this anecdote. Anecdote? Yeah.
You were.
Yeah. I'll steer you somewhere.
But I think this is why I like podcasts more, because, especially just the spoken word ones, because with the audio, because there's a little bit more honesty.
It's. I suppose there's a lack of agenda. You know, that's the thing.
Well, not in yours. I'm going to come up with all these things.
Well, we're going to make you jump through some hoops, sure, but there is a lack of, you know, it's that long form conversation, and it is. I like that because I listen to a lot of podcasts, like probably too many, and one of my phrases at work is always, I was listening to a podcast on the way in and I heard this and that was interesting. But really, you know, without sort of being too sort of complimentary to yourself, it's not too dissimilar to, you know, in terms of listening to, you know, all the Shuttleworth stuff is really just you know, you're having a conversation with yourself or with the listener. Yeah. But to yourself, you know, it's very knowing, isn't it? You're at home and you talk. There's a recorder going, but you're talking and telling everybody what you're up to, and that's sort of how I see podcasts. They haven't got that same drive to be entertainment. You know, you tend to listen to them because you like them rather than.
Yeah, a good podcast is like that. And I think, you know, if the hosts are not trying too hard, basically, but there are podcasts where I think the hosts are pushing it too much. They have jingles every 5 seconds, you know, and you don't need all that. But I'm just going back to that other sort of talking about the radio shows, the way people are, guests and sycophantic. Another thing that's sort of related to it is the way politicians will all automatically slag off the opposition. Because it'd be nice occasionally to hear someone say, well, you know, I really think you put the argument extremely well there. Don't agree with it though. But that's only because, you know, you're a Tory, I'm Labour, or whatever, and just being a bit more honest. Yeah, and like, you know, Prime Minister's Question Time is just so adversarial. It's just bonkers. It's like nothing really constructive can get said.
And I think it's performative as well, because you know the minute those cameras go off, they all walk around the back and shake each other's hands and go, "Oh gosh, that was an interesting one, wasn't it?" And then it's all...
Well, we're led to believe that's what happens.
Yeah.
It's hard. Yeah, it's hard to imagine that they completely disagree on everything.
Yeah.
There must be some points of law and order and whatever that they agree with, but they never show that. It's not.
No.
It's that dishonesty.
So to a degree, is it the business side of the show business? Because does that sort of fall into that category? You know, that playing your role, playing your part in the game when you go on something like Graham Norton. Well, I know I've got to say this, I've got to tell that story, and I've got to pretend I like this person. We've all got to rub along nicely. It's sort of
because if you
it?
don't, then you become actually a famous clip, don't you?
Yeah,
I'm trying to think of people walking off like we took the Bee Gees, walking off. In a way that I think what they did is great, because they'd had enough. Clive Anderson was rude. I think it's tricky. It's a tricky area. I mean, but we probably covered it, haven't we?
Yeah, we have.
Move on.
Well, it's not. I don't get that shirty about it, but
no, but I just thought
it's the one that came into my head.
Yeah.
The following is an announcement on behalf of a certain tailors based in Tunbridge Wells. Have you visited Hardman and Hemming online lately? No? Well, you should. They have a new sparkly website which tells you all about what they do and how they do it. There are examples of their work, blogs on how to look after suits, details of the services they offer, and not to mention all of the Get Shirty podcasts with additional pictures. But best of all, you can find details of the H&H Shirt Club, the shirt subscription service where a tailored shirt of your design will be delivered to your door as often as you choose. You even get one shirt free once you sign up. Not to be missed, so do pop along and go to hardmanandhemming.co.uk and sign up today. And remember, the first rule of Shirt Club is tell everyone about Shirt Club. That concludes our public announcement.
There's work then.
Yeah,
that's pretty good.
Well, the next one's a bit like that.
Is it? So this is now work rest. So being at home, what's your thing? What's your on your downtime?
It's interesting because I picked something that it is in the category of rest, but it's actually exercise. Keeping your body from falling apart.
Yeah.
I resent the way that as you get older, you have to keep on exercising almost every day.
Yeah.
Why can't a body be like a car that you just go and get an MOT on it once a year and then you're sorted?
Yeah.
Because I have to do press-ups every day just to stop my chest from collapsing to nothing. It's just like, and my muscly arms that I had when I was young, they just go flabby unless I go to the local park in Leicester with my dog actually. I keep the dog on the lead and I attach the lead to the workout machine.
You've got that sort of own body weight workout stuff. Yeah.
So he actually gets to work out as well because he's pulling on the lead as far as it'll go to try and get to some bit of food he's spotted.
Yeah.
And I'm pushing and pulling and he's being pushed and pulled. But I just kind of every day I feel 3 times a week I go to this gym and I just seem to be fighting a losing battle.
Yeah.
Especially around the old tummy area.
Yeah.
As you get older, it just sort of and you have to have that glass of wine, don't you?
Yeah.
The meal just helps the digestion.
It does. It's essential.
So it's exercise. That's what I'm kind of.
I
don't mind walking because I don't sort of define that as exercise. And if you've got a dog, you're so lucky because you can walk the dog because you have to.
You've got a reason to.
Yeah. But like I've started doing yoga now, because I've got a bad back. In fact, one of my Shuttleworth shows was called John Shuttleworth's Back.
Right.
So again, very clever because he hadn't been on touring for a while. And I had a bad back, but I thought, well, let's do a show about having a bad back, even though he's also back.
Yeah.
And then COVID came, stopped the tour, and when we came back, it was called John Shuttleworth's Back Again.
Right.
Did that mean he was back again? Or is it
back-
more about his back?
again. Yeah, the double pun. It's got to
I
be
love
like-
double puns.
Yeah.
But my dad always used to say, I should be punished for every pun I shed. Yeah, I'm not. Have you heard that before?
No.
It's quite good, isn't it?
It is good.
I don't know whether he made that up.
Yeah.
He can't have done.
Well, I don't know. But again, that could be one of those
good.
things. It's like, I've never heard it before. And you just assumed that he can't have made that up. Perhaps he did. Do you think that's where you're... So was he a lover of puns?
He was a
Or
big
the
fan of.
wordplay.
He liked wordplay. He was a big,
Wordplay.
but he was a scientist. He studied physics at university,
okay.
and then dropped out because he was too busy chasing the ladies, I think, and he
Right,
became a
okay.
photographer. But I made a film called Father Earth, which is about me and my dad,
Right.
and me and John Shuttleworth. I filmed me and talking to John in dressing room mirrors. I did lots and lots of different films, and that forms the basis of the film. In fact, The Guardian described it as a Jekyll and Hyde psychodrama
Wow.
on the basis of these weird confrontations between. So if you imagine a mirror there, and I'd just. So I'd be dressed up as John. I always did it before we went on stage, and
Yeah.
so I'd say, "You all right, John? Looking forward to the show tonight?" I did that without the specs on, and
Right.
then I'd put my specs on. I'd be, "Yes, I am looking forward to it, Graham. But you put the wrong specs on me, Graham. Those are yours." oh, sorry, John. Yeah, and then that's better.
Right.
Yeah. Right, we'll have a good show, Graham. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it, John. Oof, you don't seem like you are. You seem a bit depressed. No, well, maybe I'm fed up of talking to you. Oof, that's offensive. Yeah, and then it would just go on like that.
So is it, when you're doing
That's
that...
like Tommy Cooper. He starts getting confused about what he's doing.
yeah.
That's Harry Worth, isn't it?
I think he did.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Tommy Cooper did the whole halfway. He said jump and
Right.
put the hats on. He'd end up getting confused as to
Yeah,
who it was.
yeah.
So in your mind, when you're doing that, are you making a mental shift between yourself and John? Do you make a separation?
Yeah.
You're always thinking, well, how would John answer that? Of course, like then you're doing it on the spot. Are they two voices in your head?
Yeah,
Is that-
they are.
I can't articulate
When you
that
know
very
it,
well.
when you, it's all right. I'll do it for you. When you know a character, well,
Yeah.
and obviously I know John Shuttleworth extremely well, as I know myself probably.
Yeah.
Yes, I'd say that's true, Graham. Yeah, we can switch instantaneously,
Yeah.
or even instantly. Yes, I wasn't sure what's the right word now. Is it instantaneous or instantly?
Both, I would say, are usable in that context. Right,
But
that's
I
interesting.
can do this with John and Ken because I do this thing now called. I sell them on my website. A lot of celebs do it, where you sell an audio recording.
Yeah.
And I started during lockdown. Mine are very cleverly though called bags or bespoke audio greeting, and they cost quite a lot of money, £45.
But the bags are fun, aren't they?
Pardon?
Their bags are fun.
Their
though.
bags are fun, and they tend to be, and they're good because I work quite hard at them.
Yeah.
But it's always John and Ken together, and I mean I've got a mic attached to me, so it's going to be hard to do it. But Ken's always off mic, so it'll be, "Hello, Brian, John Shuttleworth here." "And me, Ken Worthington." "Oh, yeah, sorry, I've got Ken in the background." "Hello." "Yeah, hello. Yeah, just wait to be introduced, Ken." "Oh, I thought you hadn't done, John." "Oh yeah, I did, didn't I?" Anyway, happy birthday, Brian. "Happy birthday." Yeah. I don't know if that's going to work. I was turning my head away then from the mic. I've become quite adept at sort of doing John there into the mic and then pushing the handset away and doing Ken in the background. And it honestly sounds like two men
Yeah.
in the room. And it's a little thing, it's a little achievement, but to me, it makes my day. It's a good point to just maybe describe how I've done my radio series, The Shuttleworths, because that's slightly different.
Right.
See, what I'm doing here is a lazy way of doing The Shuttleworths. So I could do a whole programme of The Shuttleworths in this way, "Hello, love, you all right?" "Yeah, I am. What about you?" "Well, yes, I'm fine." "I'm not. out. I'm a bit poorly. Oof, sorry to hear it, Ken. Now that is not how I do the Shuttleworths.
No, sure.
Because with the Shuttleworths, I've always you have like a different track of the tape for each character, and the way I do it is very slow, very laborious, but you build it up. So John will start talking. Good morning, everybody. Oh, Mary's just come into the room. And now I stop recording and I go onto Mary's track and play back what John's been saying, but record on Mary's track. So she comes in and she's breathing and everything. That's the other thing that obviously I can't do the way I was just doing it before. So she goes, yeah. As she's coming in, she'll be off mic and get closer. Yeah. And then John will say, hello, love, you all right? So she's listening to John in real time. So that's how you get that timing. Yeah. See, what always bugged me about radio dramas was the way that no one really interrupted. But in real life, people cross over each other all the time. Yeah. Like you just did then. Your went over my speech. Now, it'd be very hard to write that in a play. But when you do recording like I do with the Shuttleworths, with everyone on different tracks, that sort of thing happens naturally, and then it has the sound of reality. I just loved trying to make. Yeah, I was just developing that idea that I'd heard, because it was just so different to going back to what I said before about hearing a radio play. It sounded so clean and unrealistic. And actors you could almost see them at the mics with their scripts.
Hello, dear.
Yes, have you had a good day? And it's all very clear. And people, I wanted something a bit realer. And, the way I'm talking now, I don't know what words I'm going to come out with. And therefore it has a faltering stop-start quality.
Yeah.
And that's when you hear the Shuttleworths, it's the same thing. Because I don't know what John's going to say.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean, Stuart? It's spit it out, John. I'm trying to again.
Exactly. But I find it's really interesting.
Fascinating.
I've been one of those people growing up who've always done voices, and so like seeing someone use their voice in an interesting way like that, I find it very interesting.
Good.
But exercise.
Exercise. I mean, it's kind of it's not a big thing to be shirty about. I mean, it's a bit obvious, that one. Sorry, but I couldn't think of anything else.
Hey, have you ever visited patreon.com/getshirty? Well, you really should. It's where you can find out about all things Get Shirty podcast. It's so amazing. There's a new subscription service which only costs £3.50. It's called The Cuffs. You get exclusive Get Shirty music, and you also get a name check at the end of every podcast. How amazing is that? So, go along and check it out. patreon.com/getshirty. It's so cool.
Listen, let me just sing you the chorus of a song that John wrote.
I'm ready.
It didn't quite make it to my album. I've got an album out called The Pumice Stone.
Okay.
And Other Rock Songs.
Very good. Yeah, I did see that.
It's in your...
Oh, is it?
You've got it in your little package.
We got a goodie bag.
But this song nearly made it, but it was on a radio show. I'm going to sing it a cappella, like the Flying Pickets, if that's all right, Stuart.
Please do.
The satisfaction of... Oh, I forgot the words. That's it, I've got it, don't worry. Start again. Yeah, I am, Ken. The satisfaction of finishing a blister pack and disposing of it hygienically is the greatest thrill known to man, and that's a fact. Especially when you're popping in the pedal bin, several blister packs simultaneously. And then Joan says, "Is that your biggest thrill, John? Really?" "Yes, Joan, it is." "Oh."
I'm going to pull in the last Get Shirty now. And that's Work, Rest and Play. So going out.
Yeah. Well,
What?
going out.
Yeah.
Well, go on.
No, I was going to say, what have you got one about going out? Is it going, some...
Yeah. I think I have.
Are you someone who goes out?
Well,
do you like going out? I'm a bit of a hermit.
I've become less of a go-outer.
Right.
Go-outer. That thing, you know, when you used to go to nightclubs and then you suddenly stop.
Yeah.
Well, I did. Maybe I got to 30 and I felt embarrassed to go to a nightclub because you just feel you're a bit out of place.
Well, it's not your world anymore, you know. You've aged out of it slightly, and
it's the same with like pubs. I certainly don't go into pubs where there's loud music playing. That would, I can't bear it because I want to go to a pub to talk. But I'm finding there's more and more pubs where they don't have music playing. Yeah. But the conversation is perhaps something to do with the structure. I mean, we've got a carpet on the wall here, which is good. That's good for sound. But so many places, especially these sort of real ale places with benches.
Flat stone floors and benches.
And the sound is going all over the place. Yeah. And I found
on the floor.
Once a few people are talking away, my ears are just going crazy.
The volume goes up and up.
The volume goes up and up, and I have to get out. I can't bear it. You see, without getting too technical, because I don't know there's a frequency of human chat, which is quite narrow. It occupies a few. It's a mid frequencies, and that's why it goes up and up because we can't distinguish between. It's why ladies' voices you can hear women a bit easier. Yeah. In fact, sometimes I have to admit. I do Dave Tordoff, which is another character of mine that I haven't done very. He talks like that, are you? You're right. Give my voice a harder edge. Can you get me a pint of lager? My voice is a bit soft, you know. I've got a soft edge. I can't be heard, and I can't. And I give up listening to people. Yeah. After a while, if it gets too loud. Yeah. So bring back the music. No.
Yeah.
No,
or soft furnishings. A couple of throw cushions. Maybe you should start travelling with your own bit of carpet that you could sit on.
Maybe.
To deaden the sound in your area.
My girlfriend.
It's quite extreme though, isn't it?
It is a bit. There are these noise cancelling headphones.
Yeah,
aren't they?
But, they're good. Yeah.
But my girlfriend Miriam bought me some and they didn't work. I couldn't.
You weren't putting them in your ears, though. I hope. Yeah, they.
Sorry. I was going to say related to that. I also find my eyes must be going a bit, but I find going to modern lighting does me head in. Yeah. Like in department stores,
too bright.
It's too bright. It's a weird frequency of light, isn't it? And it doesn't necessarily give me a headache, but it makes me feel weird, and I have to get out. I can't spend long, and I just don't remember it being like that. So, sound and vision is when you're going out is something that's very difficult to put up with. So that's why it's nice to stay inside. Yeah, and close your eyes.
Controlled environment. Yeah. So I just like to sit in with my eyes closed and not do anything. That's your vibe, is it? Right. Here we go.
Oh, what's happening?
So the hat is out. So this is for new listeners that you're going to bring to us. Go on. Yeah. So this is the Hatty Cuff. So off the cuff. This is the off the cuff section. Right. So in here is some little bits of paper, which you'll pluck one of these out and it'll give you your subject to instantly come up with a Get Shirty about.
Okay.
Now, the section's called Off the Cuff. We couldn't think how to deliver it to the guests, so we put them in a hat. So this, as somebody pointed out, they shouldn't be in a hat, they should be shirt related somehow.
Yeah.
Put them on a cuff.
Can I
blah, blah,
ask you a question?
Yeah,
if I open the piece of paper and there's a subject that I can't get shirty about, does this mean I won't get my trousers made?
I hadn't thought about that. Let's see.
Or maybe you'll do some slightly dodgy stitching on it.
Yeah, especially around the crutch area, just so that right at that because it's exposed as well when you're sort of at your keyboard, isn't it?
I can be a bit exposed, yeah. John does quite a bit of standing up there, walking around.
Does he? He's got a nice style, John.
He has. I mean,
I like the leather jacket.
The thing is,
I presumed it's pleather.
I don't know. I could have asked you for another leather jacket, actually.
Yeah,
Actually,
that's
maybe
all
you can answer this.
Yeah.
The collar, it's called.
Yeah.
The collar is a bit high,
Okay.
but me and my girlfriend were playing with the bending it down,
Yeah.
so it becomes a bigger. Is that
bigger
called the
lapel.
collar? What's that called?
Yeah, the lapel.
The lapel.
Yeah.
So you make the lapel bigger. Can
Yeah.
you do that with leather? Can you remold it?
You should be able to.
And what do you have to do?
Well, I'm not great with leather, so I would ask
Okay.
somebody who knows a bit more. But generally speaking, steam and heat.
Yeah.
Generally, it's not so much getting it into the shape; it's making sure it stays in
Yeah,
the
that's
shape.
it. It's quite an old
Setting
jacket.
it back.
These cop duo, aren't they?
Yeah, steam and heat. Yeah, old steam and heat.
Yeah.
So this is the Hatty Cuff. So someone said we should. Alex Horn came up with quite a lot. Collared and I can't remember what they were now. But we've decided we're always going to keep the hat, but we just don't know what to call it. So it's the Hatty Cuff.
Well,
Hat cuff, catty hat. I don't know what that was.
So this is
Hatty
a-
Japes.
this is-
Hatty Japes. Chatty. Yeah, I don't know what
Hatty
this guy say?
Japes is a good one.
Yeah, Hatty Japes.
Tom Bowler.
Tom Bowler, yeah.
Right. But is this section to make? So pick one.
Pick one.
Yeah.
Read it.
But
and
is
then
it
say,
is it
this
to
is
try
what-
and make the podcast more exciting? What's it for?
Hey, that's a good question.
Why are you doing this?
Well, look. I'll tell you why.
It's the first time it's been questioned.
It is, but I like this. So I thought 3 didn't feel like quite enough.
Why don't you just
Well,
come up with one more then?
I wanted, yeah, but that didn't work with work, rest, and play.
Okay.
Once I've got something in my mind, I like it set.
Shall I open it?
Open it.
There we go. Excellent. Barbecues.
Barbecues. So what's your get shirty about barbecues? There's got to be one.
It's funny because I've written a song about barbecues.
I reckon you could have picked anything out of here. And you would have said, oh, do you know, look, I'm going to pick
Yeah.
one out and let's see if you've written a song
But
about
I've not
it.
recorded it. But it's a Graham Fellow song. It's a very sad song about how that when you smell the barbecue on the summer's evening, but it's not yours, it's someone else's, it can make you incredibly sad because you've not been invited to that barbecue. And you can hear laughter and the clink of beer bottles.
Yeah.
And you sort of walk past and it's usually sort of behind a high wall.
Yeah, you just
And you
see
smell all that lovely food,
Yeah.
and I can get quite melancholy.
Yeah,
So that's my take on it.
on barbecues.
I would say, but that's not getting shirty. You want me to get angry, don't you?
No,
I'm
I think
angry that
that's-
I wasn't invited.
Yeah.
Because it might be someone
Makes you
that I
feel
know.
shirty. Yeah. Well, that
It'd
would
be-
make
and-
you shirty. If you
Yeah.
found out somebody, if you walked past a friend's house and they had a barbecue going and you hadn't been asked,
Yes.
that would be shirty.
But if I can speak for John,
Yeah.
because there's a chapter in his new book, which is called. I should have brought you a copy of that.
Oh,
I've got
you
some
brought us
advanced
enough.
copies.
Thank you very much.
Well, I forgot. It's only just arrived, and it's called John Shuttleworth Takes the Biscuit. Because there's quite a lot. There's a lot of stuff about biscuits in there. Did you know the custard cream was invented in 1908? The lemon puff 4 years later.
Yeah. Wow.
Anyway, barbecues. He talks about barbecues, about being invited to a barbecue, and he wears his shorts. Shall I slip into John for it?
Please do.
I went dressed in my shorts. It was a nice sunny day, but it got a bit cold. And so luckily I brought some snow-washed jeans in a plastic bag, in a carrier bag, so I went inside and put them on.
Yeah.
But I felt a bit vulnerable in my shorts, you know.
Yeah.
Because you can do, Stuart, can't you?
Very.
A gentleman can at night time. So that's not that's nothing to do with barbecue. It's just I think I went to a barbecue once and I didn't have any long trousers to change into.
Yeah,
so by the evening I was like in my shorts, feeling a bit vulnerable. Are we getting near the end? Because
We are
I'm
at
feeling
the
like I'm tired and
are
I need to take a break to eat my sandwich.
we're at the end.
Or
We are at the end. There you go. Look, there's Get Shirty. And I thought you had some corkers there. Graham, thank you for coming. Thank you for bringing John. And thank you to Ken for
And Ken
coming along
popped
as
in,
well.
didn't he? You
and
even had
Mary.
Mary, yeah.
And
Thanks
Mary.
for the tote bags.
And thank
You're
you very
welcome.
much.
And thanks for the trousers.
Yeah,
So
that's
are you
all
going
right.
to measure me now then?
Yeah, we will.
I'm in a small room with two strange gentlemen. I'm going to have to take my trousers off.
Graham, John, Ken and Mary all in the same podcast. It's the stuff of dreams. What an amazing time it was to chat with Graham. We've really got to thank him for coming to see us in London and for the amazing goodie bags. So great. CDs, a tea towel, but I have to say the flask is my new favourite possession. Go check out his website. It's all on there. You can also get tickets for all of his shows on his website too, the John Shuttleworth website. And thanks also to Graham for the tea and the blueberry muffin. It was pretty darn good. Thanks also have to go to Stuart Wilson for his co-hosting, editing and the production on the podcast. Thank you to Sam for holding the fort. The music, as always, is by the wonderful Dat Hazard. Go check him out. And thanks also this time to Crawford for his assistance, which brings us on to thanking the Savoury Club in Mayfair for the room that we recorded in. Go and check out our new Patreon pages. There's lots of extra podcast stuff there that you can subscribe to. Yeah, go check out our social media and all of Graham's social media too. Until next time, do try not to get too shirty.
Chips. If somebody's got a portion of chips, they've always got the right, and they give you a chip, it's always the right amount of salt and vinegar on it.
Yeah.
Than whenever you have your own chips. So if you want good chips, you get somebody else to buy them for you and put the salt and vinegar on.
But that's the same thing as other people's sandwiches always taste better.
Yeah, why is that?
Do you know, I once got into terrible trouble when I was in the Cubs. We went on a hike and we stopped for our lunch, packed lunch, we all had a packed lunch. And I was eating my sandwiches and I saw a packed lunch next to me on the rock and no one was claiming it. So I said, oh, someone's left a packed lunch, and I opened it up and it had some sandwiches in. And I actually said, whose are these? And anyway, nobody claimed them. And so I started eating them.
Right.
But they were Akela's.
Oh!
I got into really bad trouble. And she, I didn't know what I'd done because no one was claiming them. She must have been
away dealing with
some kid's knee or around the corner.
Yeah.
But I shouldn't have opened it up, I guess.
And have you never written a song about stealing Akela's sandwiches?
Akela's sandwiches, yeah.
Because if you haven't, surely that's prime Graham territory, isn't it?
John territory.
Yeah, but Graham or John, you know.
It probably is. You made me think now. Did you ever eat the wrapper of a fairy cake, thinking it was rice paper, but it turned out to be a wax-based greaseproof paper, and you get the bits in your mouth.
Yeah.
I didn't write a song about it, but it is one of my little stories that John tells. And I got a little smack from the lady.
Oh, did you?
The mother of the kid whose party it was. It made me cry. That's abuse, isn't it, Stu?
It is.
But it wasn't back
Eating
then.
the wax paper.
Well, because I was spitting the bits all over the table.
Okay. Yeah. Do you know?
And then I saw a piece of shortbread, and this other lass called Shirley wanted it. So I said, shall we share the shortbread, Shirley? Surely we should.
Let's get shut. Get Shirty.
And I've wrote, sorry, it just reminds me of another song that's you wouldn't write a song about, but I did, as John, called Blue Light Kettle.
All right.
Which is, it's all about loving the light, the blue light.
Yeah.
And again, I have to sing the chorus because it explains exactly what John's trying to say. I love my blue light kettle. I love my. Wouldn't think I've got a tour coming up, would you? I've been practicing every day.
Rehearsed.
I love my blue light kettle. My current one's made of metal, but this was made of plastic and was white. It made patterns on the ceiling, which induced a pleasant feeling when the boiling cycle was at its height.
You know, we're tailors by
Well, you wouldn't think so.
Well,
I mean, well, hang on. Is that good or
oh,
bad?
you've seen our work.
Big to the shop.